Welcome to our Business Ethics and Social Responsibility, the foundation of business ethics, which is the classical and modern philosophies. What are the influences of the philosophers back then, such as Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, and other modern philosophers like Immanuel Kant, Jeremy Bentham, and John Stuart Mill sa tinatawag nating business ethics. For our learning, Sir Wright A. Castillo, Mr. Stark, and Iron Man of Bansud Institute. And now, let's proceed for our Module 6, the foundation of business ethics, the classical philosophies. Number 1, let's talk about this person named Socrates. Socrates once said that the unexamined life is not worth living. Okay, si Socrates is the father of the philosophy because siya yung teacher ni Plato, and si Plato naging teacher ni Aristotle. Okay, so ano ba yung influence ni Socrates pagdating sa tinatawag nating business ethics? Okay, so malaki. Kaya I started with this quote, the unexamined life is not worth living. With regards sa business ethics, ine-examine din natin yung ating paghahanap buhay. Ano ba yung dapat nating ayusin? Ano ba yung dapat nating ugaliin? Lahat ng mga bagay na pwede nating itanong, suriin sa paghahanap buhay, ay ito yung mainly influence ni Socrates pagdating sa tinatawag nating business. Okay? At lalo sa tinatawag nating business ethics in this subject matter. Okay, so Socrates is called as the gadfly at the marketplace. Pag sinabi natin gadfly sa Tagalog, ito yung langaw. Okay? Si Socrates kasi ay parang langaw na papunta-punta sa palengke at kung saan-saan pa sa lipunan ng Greece para lamang magtanong. Okay? Ini-examine niya lahat ng mga tao at tinatanong-tanong niya lang yan, ang mga tao na yon, hanggang sa makakuha siya ng kasagutan. Okay? So, yun yung ginagawa ni Socrates. At doon natin nakuha din yung idea na Socratic method. The art of asking question in order for us to derive an answer. Okay? So, kaya nga si Socrates ay kilalang parang langaw na philosopher noong unang panahon. Dahil ang kulit niya at yung mga tao ay sobrang nakukulitan sa kanya, naaanoy dahil sa kakulitan ni Socrates. As applied to business, of course, kailangan din ganyan yan. Sinusuri natin lagi yung lahat ng pwedeng suriin, the financial matters, the expenses, the receipts, the sources, the donors, the sponsors, the customers, the society, the benefactors, at kung ano-ano pa sa ating lipunan. Kailangan yan, kaya yung mga entrepreneurs, yung mga CEO, yung mga stockholders, yung mga businessmen and women ay sobrang maliligalig sa kakatatanong. At yun yung influence ni Socrates. Sa pagtuturo, meron din tinatawag na Socratic method, which is where the teacher is just keep on asking question about the subject sa mga estudyante hanggang sa mag-derive ito ng kasagutan. Okay? So, yun yung pwede nating matutunan kay Socrates. Okay? Of course, what is a corporate gadfly? Okay? Kaya nga, an investor who asks difficult questions at shareholder meetings and irritates senior management. Kapag meron tayong tinatawag na proposal, okay? If you are going to propose a project, paano mo mako-convince yung mga investor? Yung mga investor ay nandyan para magtanong lang na magtanong hanggang sa makonvince sila kung gaano ka-effective yung tinatawag mong proposal o yung project mo. Siyempre, hindi ka pwedeng yes or no lang ang sagot. So, si Socrates hindi pwede sa kanya yes or no. Kailangan meron kang dahilan. Kaya nga sila tinatawag ng mga rationalists. They are going to use their reason until na makuha nila yung katotohanan. Kaya nga sabi ni Socrates again, true knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. Okay? Kapag in-acknowledge mo daw sa sarili mo na ikaw ay walang alam, tsaka mo natututunan na ikaw ay wala pala talagang alam, kakatanong mo. Okay? So, sabi nga ng isang philosopher din, the more you know, the more you don't know. The more na dumadami yung alam mo, the more na na-realize mo konti pa lang pala talaga ang alam mo. Okay? So, paano nangyayari yun? So, magitan lang ng Socratic method. Tanong ka lang ng tanong, aral ka lang ng aral, hanggang sa makuha mo yung tamang sagot sa lahat ng iyong mga tanong sa buhay. Okay, so yun yung application niya with regards sa business ethics. Pagdating sa personal na ating code of ethics, sa ating sa workplace, sa ating personal life, okay, you are going to ask yourselves, of course, am I doing my best? Am I really good enough? Am I being effective? So yung mga ganong question ay mga reflective question yon that will derive and will improve us at give us an answer with regards sa ating mga questions in life. Okay? So hindi lang tayo, wag lang tayong parang ini-spoon feed. Sa business, hindi pwedeng spoon feeding. Lagi silang merong mga social experiment, lagi silang merong mga business plan, business concept, until na makuha nila yung maayos na implementation at maging success sila sa kanilang business. Okay? So now, let's proceed to his student, and his name is Plato. Si Plato naman ay kilala sa kanyang general na influence sa business ethics for having a good life. Okay? So Plato is the philosopher king and also the good life. Philosopher king siya in a sense na dahil si Socrates wala siyang sinulat. Lagi lang siyang tanong ng tanong. Kaya lahat ng mga references natin or sources natin kay Socrates ay nanggaling kay Plato. Dahil teacher niya si Socrates, so may mga bagay na kino-coach siya doon sa mga dialogues niya. Doon lang nagkaroon tayo ng reference sa mga works ni Socrates. But si Plato, hindi siya ganon. Sinulat niya talaga lahat, tinala niya lahat. Kaya siya yung tinawag na philosopher king. Okay? At ang kanyang proposal naman is good life. Sabi niya nga sa isang quotation, good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. Okay? So, ang natural na mabuting tao sa kanila ay hindi kailangan ng batas para maging responsable. Hindi nila kailangan yung mga regulation. But a bad people will find a way around the laws. Gumagawa ng butas sa mga batas. Okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na theory of forms kay Plato. Ang theory of forms, according to Plato, the world we live in is a poor imitation. Meron tayong tinatawag na the world of forms and the world of matter. Yung world of forms, ito yung ideal world. Okay? For example, nakikita niyo dyan, kapag sinabing mansanas, ang ideal itsura natin ng mansanas ay siyempre mapula, masarap, at siya ay mabilog at makintab. So that's yung ideal apple sa isip natin. Pero sa world of matter, which is yung things, yung actual, yung real form niya, nakakita ka ng apple na maputla, na ito ay walang kalasa-lasa, halos nabulok na. So, yun yung real, okay? Meron ka na agad na stigma na merong ideal na dapat ito yung apple. Para kay Plato, ganoon din ang mundo. Meron siyang mundo sa kanyang isipan at yung mundong ito ay maganda at ideal. Kaya nga pag sinabing ideal form, it is in the mind. It's all in the mind. Meron ka ng idea na ganito yung isang object sa ideal form, the world of forms, at ito yung ginagamit mong criteria para masabi mo na ito ay isang apple sa world of matter or the things. Okay? So, ganun din to sa natatawag nating business. Kaya meron tayong tinatawag na business concept. Kasi sa business concept, ito yung dapat na mangyari. Dapat smooth yung tinatawag nating step-by-step distribution, planning, at kung ano-ano pa. At, pero sa the world of matter, pag ito in-apply na natin, ito ay, of course, hindi smooth. Okay? Kaya nga naiirita yung mga nasa task. Kasi bakit parang palpak yung plano natin? Okay? Kasi nga, that is an idea. Perfectly, nangyari yung idea mo, sa loob ng iyong isipan lamang, pero pag ito in-apply mo sa real world or the world of matter, ay hindi ito kaagad-agad na smooth. Okay? There will always be a room for improvement. Kaya nga, meron na tinatawag na trial and error. Pero, at least, meron kang imagination sa iyong isip na ito dapat yung mangyari. So, yun yung influence niya sa tinatawag nating business, a good life. Okay? So, kailangan everything should be started in idea, and that idea will turn into real. Okay? Kaya yung theory of forms ni Plato is very influential tinatawag nating business. Like for example, meron tayong tinatawag na ideal girl or ideal boy. Lahat yon nasa isip mo. Probably ang aking ang aking observation, kaya meron tayong matatawag na matatandang dalaga at matatandang binata, kasi meron sila tinatawag na ideal girl o ideal boy sa isip nila. Na hindi makapasa-pasa yung mga tao na nakasalumuha nila, kasi yung mga tao pala na gusto nila ay nag-e-exist lang sa isip nila. Okay? Yun yung mga matataas yung pamantayan. Okay? So, kaya yun yung world of forms, yung pamantayan mo, at yung world of matter, ito yung mga bagay na nakikita mo talaga. Kaya hindi pumapasa. Okay? So, let's go to his student naman, yung si Aristotle and the virtue theory. Okay? Si Aristotle, again, ay estudyante naman ni Plato. Okay? So, they are the ancient Greek philosophers. Napakalaki ng impluensya, of course, sa tinatawag natin business ethics. Kasi nga yung ethics is just a branch ng tinatawag nating philosophy. Okay? So, Aristotle naman is known for his influence sa virtuous life or a happy life. Sabi nga ni Aristotle, happiness is the meaning and the purpose life, the whole aim and end of human existence. Basta masaya ka, okay na. Yun yung kay Aristotle. Of course, with regard sa business, kailangan yung tinatawag nating happiness. Hindi ka lang nagbi-business for the sake lang ng earning money. Kagaya ng sinabi natin last na ating topic with regards sa common practices ng business organization. Isa sa mga goal ng business is, of course, to make money and satisfaction. Kailangan masaya ka sa ginagawa mo. Hindi lang na dahil for the sake ng trabaho at pera, kailangan masaya ka rin. At meron nga tinatawag na tayo doon na different costs, okay? Or interest costs. Dahil may dahilan ka na mas malalim kaya ka naghahanap buhay, okay? So, si Aristotle ay meron tayong tinatawag na teaching niya na eudaimonia. Eudaimonia came from the Greek word eudaimonia, you or being good, or daimonia being flourish, okay? So, human flourishing, a contented state of being happy, healthy, and prosperous. Just like a flower. Think of a flower. If you water it, give it enough life, maybe feed it a little, then it will grow and bloom. Human beings can flourish like plants too. Okay? So, but the highest goal, the highest ethical standard for Aristotle is to be happy. Sa masaya ka, sa ginagawa mo, ay ikaw ay nasa tamang direksyon ng iyong buhay. Kaya kailangan with regard sa business, masaya ka sa iyong ginagawa. Meron tayong tinatawag na virtues. Okay? Ito yung tinatawag din natin later on na in-improve ni Nicomacheus, yung Nicomachean ethics. Okay? Ang Nicomachean ethics, or even nagsimula kay Aristotle, yung tinatawag nating deficiency, mean, and excess. Okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na pag sinabing deficiency, vice, ito yung tinatawag na kulang ka. Okay? Kulang ka, hindi ka masaya. Okay? Pag sinabi nating virtue or yung mean, ito ay tinatawag nating sakto lang. Okay? Masaya ka. Okay? And yung vice naman, ito yung tinatawag nating sobra or excess. Okay? Or excess, sobra. Okay? Okay, what's the implication to business? The rational person doesn't seek money for its own sake. The rational person uses money so that they can spend their time on good moral works and developing their mind. For example, ng mga reflective question for having a happy place na as you can see sa Venn diagram, what I do well, what I want to do, what people will pay for. Learn to say no, do this better, learn to monetize, and the middle of all this, dito sa intersection ng Venn diagram, ang tinatawag nating happiness. Okay? Happiness. Now, let's have a reflection question for having a happy life. Ito lang yung mga set of questions ni Aristotle para masabi mong masaya ka sa ginagawa mo. Number 1, am I behaving in a virtuous way? Masaya ba yung behavior mo? Okay? Number 2, how would I want to be treated if I were a member of this organization? Okay? 3, what form of social conduct would allow all members to develop their full potential in order that they may each make their greatest contribution to the good of the whole. Kasi nga, ang idea ni Aristotle, kapag masaya ka sa ginagawa mo, you will expected to perform well and to give your best sa iyong ginagawa. Kung yan ay sa business, dahil masaya ka, gagawin mo yung best mo para para lang masatisfy yung happiness mo. Okay? At or as a result ng happiness mo. To what extent are the real opportunities for all employees to develop their talents and their potential? And yun lang yan with regards to employee and employer relationship for the 5 and 6. Okay? Now, let's proceed, of course, to one of the, not the classical philosopher, but also modern philosopher na nagkaroon ng influence sa foundation ng business ethics. Sino yan? For this letter D, natawag natin si Immanuel Kant. Okay, si Immanuel Kant is ang kanyang ethics is based on duty-based ethics sa trabaho. Okay? Sabi niya nga sa kanyang quotation, act only according to the maxim by which you can, at the same time, will that it should become a universal law. Okay? Kailangan yung ginagawa mo ay magkaroon ng universal or general contribution sa bawat isa. Okay? Hindi ka lang gumagawa for your own sake, kailangan ito ay ang ginagawa mo ay meron ding implication sa society, sa business mo, to the point na kaya nga pag sinabi natin universal law, as if ito ay mapapakinabangan din ng iba. Okay? So, kaya nga duty-based ethics siya, nakabase siya sa gawa. Okay? So, you act. Okay. Now, meron tayong, in order for us to understand this, let's differentiate yung tinatawag nating deontology versus categorical imperative ni Immanuel Kant. Sa deontology proposes that ethical behavior is simply doing God's will. From the word deo means God. Okay? Kaya ang lahat ng iyong pag-uugali is basically dahil ito ay inalaw ng kalooban ng Diyos. And since most of us believe that is good, then goodwill and loving other human beings as God loves us is the universal principle on which all moral behavior must be based. Okay, so yung iyong ethical behavior or yung moral law standard ay nakabase sa pamantayan ng Diyos at kalooban ng Diyos. On the other way around, sa categorical imperative, along with the concept of goodwill goes a concept of duty to keep one's promises, which are known as Kant's imperative, categorical imperative, an absolute and universally binding moral law. Kant believes in always telling the truth because if we cannot believe what others will tell us, then agreements and when conversations with people are not possible. Basically, kay Kant kasi dinidisregard niya yung deontology, kaya nga versus siya, against siya sa ng ating pamantayan sa paggawa ng mabuti, pagiging masaya, at universal law, okay, ay nakabase lang yan sa paggawa ng tao, okay? For example, kaya kasi natin universal law, para sa kanya, makukonsider mo yung gawa mo na accepted ng lipunan kapag ito'y naging tanggap ng lipunan. Kapag ang nag-agree ang lipunan na bawal magnakaw at meron kang personal principle na bawal magnakaw. Pero para yung act mo ay maging universal law, kailangan matanggap to ng lipunan. Hanggang sa ito ay ma-codify or ma-legalize na bawal magnakaw ang buong lipunan. Kasi ang simula ng deontology ay bawal magnakaw dahil sa law na binigay ng Panginoon. Pero sa categorical imperative, na konsensya ka na una, yung personal mo na pananaw at yung personal pananaw mo ay tinanggap ng buong lipunan. Okay? So yun tinatawag nating categorical imperative. Now, 3 maxims of Kantian categorical imperative. Number 1 is universal moral law. Pag sinabi natin universal moral law, ito yung tama at mali na alam ng lahat ng tao. Kaya nga universal, kabuuan. Okay? An ethical law can be universal if everybody wish to follow it equally. Okay? Kapag ito ay tanggap ng buong tao. If an action is morally right or wrong, it is similar to everyone. Number 2, treat people as ends. Treat others and own self as ends. Sila yung end goal, okay? Sila yung kinoconsider mong kapakanan, hindi yung sarili mo lang, bagkus yung sarili din ng ibang tao. Ganun din sa business. Hindi mo earn na kumita ka lang, pero dapat isipin mo rin yung end goal mo sa mga clients and customer mo. Will they be satisfied sa product mo? Will your product be utilized by the customers, your customers? Okay, and even your employees, your bosses. Okay, kailangan consider mo sila, not just for your own sake, but you treat also people as an according to Kantian categorical imperative. And number 3 is kingdom of N sa kanyang Kantian the three maxims. Imaginary state whose laws protect individual autonomy. Morality is not just a matter of individual conduct but also the foundation of society. Kailangan to the point na paano nangyayari yun sa panahon natin ngayon? To the point na ito ay malegalize at maging batas ng gobyerno. Okay? So, magkaroon ng universal acceptance, magkaroon ng kapakinabangan sa tao, at magkaroon ng kapakinabangan sa lipunan. So, yun yung 3 maxims of Kantian categorical imperative. And lastly, let's talk about the last modern philosophers who mostly influence, okay, or yun na tawag nating business ethics. And they are Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, utilitarianism. Okay, napaka-common itong utilitarianism hanggang ngayon. Ito ay nagagamit natin, paniniwala natin, pero unaware tayo na utilitarianism pala tayo. Okay? So, an ethical philosophy in which the happiness of the greatest number of people in the society is considered the greatest. The greatest good for the greatest number. Okay? So, kaya nga utilitarianism. Okay? Ang i-consider mo ay yung greatest number of people. Yung dami ng makikinabang. Hindi mo goal na lahat. Ang goal mo ay majority. Okay? Kahit yung ibang tao ay against, pero majority wins, tuloy mo yan. According sa utilitarianism. Like for example, yung act of valor ng mga sundalo. Ang ginagawa nila, kapag may granada sa kanila, nag-isa silang granada at sila ay kumpulang mga sundalo, yung isa tatalon sa granada, mamatay siya, pero ligtas naman yung iba. So, utilitarianism din ang tawag doon. Because you are considering the effect for the greatest number. Kapag walang tumalon sa granada na yon, yung buong katawan niya, i-sacrifice niya, lahat sila patay. So, merong kailangan mag-sacrifice na isa para ma-spare sila. So, utilitarianism, ganun din yun. Kailangan mong i-consider yung greatest number for the greatest good. Okay? Or the greatest good for the greatest number. At yun ang lagi nilang kino-consider. Okay? So, for them, the end justifies the mean for Niccolo Machiavelli. The sad truth is that it is the greatest happiness of the greatest number that is the measure of right and wrong, according to Jeremy Bentham. A person may cause evil to others not only by his action but by his inaction. And in other case, he is just accountable to them for injury. Now, again, let's talk about the difference of deontology and utilitarianism. Deontology, of course, ito yung paniniwala natin. The end does not justify the means. Pag sinabing end, again, ito yung result. Okay? Yung means, yung kaparaanan. Sabi dito sa deontology, ay kailangan yung resulta mo ay akma rin sa kaparaanan mo. Okay? Hindi mo pwedeng i-justify na porket maganda yung result, pangit yung paraan, ay okay na. Sa deontology, hindi nila accepted yon. Like for example, si Robin Hood. Si Robin Hood, ang gagawin niya, ang end goal niya ay makatulong sa mahihirap. Yun yung end goal niya. Pero ano yung means niya? Ang means ni Robin Hood ay magnakaw. Magnanakaw siya, tapos yung mga ninakaw niya ay i-distribute niya sa mga mahihirap. So, tama yung end, pero mali yung means. So, pag ganon sa deontology, that is a very, very, very big X. Ngayon, pagdating naman sa utilitarianism, the end justifies the means. Regardless kung masama yung paraan mo, regardless kung mabuti o masama yan, basta ang effect niyan ay maganda sa lahat, sa karamihan, tama yan. Okay? Kahit na magnakaw ka, yung mga example sa government, nanakaw sila, kukurap sila, tapos yung kinukurap nila, tutulong na sa mahirap, okay lang yun, as long as nakakatulong sila sa mahirap, according sa utilitarianism. Okay? Siya lang naman yung masama, pero yung masama na ginawa niya ay ang nakinabang ay maraming tao. Okay? So, utilitarianism, accepted yun. Pero sa deontology, which is I firmly believe the end does not justify the means, ay unaccepted yon. Okay? So there are two kinds of utilitarianism. Number one is act utilitarianism. Sa act utilitarianism, state that the morally right action is the one that is in accordance with a moral rule whose general observance would create the most happiness. Okay? So act, from the word itself na act, yung paggawa. Okay? Regardless kung mabuti o masama yung ginawa mo, pero magandang epekto sa lipunan mo, okay na yun. Okay? So, yun yung act utilitarianism. Gawa lang ng gawa, hindi mo isipin yung kaparaanan mo, basta maganda yung epekto sa karamihan, yun yung act utilitarianism. Number two is rule utilitarianism. Dito naman, from the word itself, rule. Okay? May batas kang sinusunod at nagiging mabuti yung ginagawa mo sapagkat sinusunod mo yung batas. Dahil yung batas na yon ay ginawa para sa karamihan. Okay? For example, bawal mag-jaywalking. Okay? So, or sinabi bawal mag-jaywalking, magsumunod ka doon kasi yun yung batas ng karamihan ay tama yon. Greatest number. Most of the people are obeying. Okay? Pag nag-disobey ka, okay, so that is not an act of a virtue ng utilitarianism. Okay? So, now again, let's give an example. Utilitarianism, especially the best action, is the one that leads to the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest number of people. Tingnan niyo po yung illustration. Now, si Batman, si Joker, sa isang babae. Yung babae, sinong ililigtas dito, okay? Si Batman, sabi nito, she's a good person. Yung babae has 4 kids, neighbors love her, and she helps lots of people. Nalulunod siya, okay? So, sabi ni Batman, saving the woman makes sense. Okay? Dapat talaga, dahil siya mabuti, mabait. But, si Joker, tingnan niyo ang description niya. He's killed many people and will kill many more and has no friends. He's hated. Pero ang tagal mamatay ni Joker, hindi siya pinapatay ni Batman. Pero kung sa utilitarianism yan, patayin si Joker is an act of utility. Okay? Bakit? Kasi si Joker, isa lang naman compare mo sa maraming taong napatay niya. Napatay mo si Joker, ay wala na. Okay? Samantala yung babae, apat lang yung kanyang anak, mahal siya ng kapitbahay niya, at she helps a lot of people. Pero pag tingnan natin yung number ng pwede maging impact society, yung pagpatay kay Joker, ay mas kapaki-pakinabang sa utilitarianism. Kapag kapapiliin si Batman sa pagligtas, yung babae ba o si Joker? Okay? Parang ano lang yan eh. Yung mga tanong sa atin kapag tayo ay malulunod daw, sino yung itatapon mo sa ilog? Diba? O ito. Kung kayo utilitarianism, masagot mo dyan, kung saan ako meron mas malaking pakinabang, eh di doon ako. Doon ako. Itapon ko na wala akong masyadong pakinabang. Okay? Ito yung illustration ng utilitarianism. Okay? Meron siyang dalawa nga, rule and act. Okay? So, sa rule, of course, there's a strong rule. If you have a lot of if you have a questions, do not hesitate to contact me to this following applications. All right? Okay, so